The film version of Hamilton's Broadway show is in more homes and has more viewership than the show could ever have had on Broadway, making Hamilton the most popular and accessible stage musical available on Earth. Most of the people who have Disney Plus around the world probably have never even seen an actual Broadway stage musical before, even if they love movie musicals, meaning Hamilton again attracts a brand new audience to Broadway. And this changes the game of the future Broadway releases. If this is your first time here, welcome to Food for Plot, where we make videos about how story works in all media and how to make your stories better. Subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss any of our new videos. This will, without a doubt, lead to more Broadway shows being released this way. Right now, Bandstand, Allegiance, She Loves Me, Newsies, Shrek, Memphis, Passing Strange, Rent, Company, Into the Woods, Cats, Jesus Christ Superstar, SpongeBob the Musical, Phantom of the Opera, and many, many more are a few of the big name Broadway shows that currently have filmed live versions of them that you can purchase and watch right now. But Hamilton is the first show to ever go to something as mainstream as Disney Plus and also have a successful Broadway run at the exact same time. With this new release strategy that Hamilton and Disney Plus are doing, this could potentially change the way that Broadway shows and all stage shows are even written. Because when you think about it, Broadway has not ever updated its release formula. The old way to be successful on Broadway was to make a show, rent a theater for an exorbitant amount of money, and charge $100 to $300 a seat. Have that show run for a very long time, and we are talking years, and that was a successful Broadway show. This also meant that shows, in order to be successful and to make sure they get a return on investment, have to choose the right shows to produce, which led to a sameness in Broadway. More musicals, less plays, more movies being turned into musicals, less original stories, more music artist songbooks being turned into musicals, less original scores. The simple reason is because these shows sell. They really sell. They are almost sure things with a built-in fan base, and as an investor, you would be smart to choose these shows to invest in and produce instead of something more obscure and original like Natasha Pierre and the Great Comet of 1812, which is partially based on 70 pages of one of the longest Russian novels known to man, War and Peace, which has no less than 10 or so main characters with 9 different names with a score that sounds like this. And this. This.
We are children of dust and ashes.
And somehow also this.
Tonight, gonna drink tonight, gonna drink tonight.
Yes. These are all from the same show. And this show, well, this show kind of flopped, as well as many other original musicals that have gone this route. But what if these shows could go the Hamilton route? But not just like do a Broadway run for a few years and put it out as a film version. What if we could write shows directly for movie theaters or streaming? During the coronavirus pandemic, a lot of shows experimented with being broadcasted directly to YouTube for free, or onto streaming services like Broadway HD or the British National Theatre. With varying degrees of success, one of the biggest things that happened was Andrew Lloyd Webber showed full film versions of his own classic musicals like Phantom of the Opera, Jesus Christ Superstar, and Cats, to name a few. These did quite well and gained tons of exposure for these shows and the channel The Show Must Go On, which now garners 1.2 million subscribers. So why not? Why not try to write a show for the sole purpose of being filmed and released worldwide? The way you would go about it is this. A show would do a 2 or 3 night run on stage, preferably with an audience, and film each performance professionally, then close its run and edit those performances together to get the best version and release it as the filmed live on stage production, similar to how a Harry Potter musical was released and, well, everything that Star Kid Theater Group does. Another show that did this was Allegiance from George Takei, a show about the Japanese Americans who were put in internment camps in the USA. This show did the performances and then was released into theaters, and now the filmed live version of it is still being sold and watched and enjoyed through VOD services and its own website. If shows were produced specifically for the digital platform or the theater, more original shows could probably get traction and exposure via wide release strategies like streaming, which would create more chances being taken on stage. You see, my point is not to kill Broadway. I love Broadway, and I've paid tons of money to prove that love. I've seen Broadway shows and off-Broadway shows and random productions throughout the entire globe, and I love every minute of it. However, I would be foolish to not acknowledge that the cost associated with traveling to New York City and then paying $100 to $300 to see a Broadway show makes for a very high barrier to entry and a very risky niche investment. Even just to put on a show, you're looking at rent for the theater space, actors, orchestra, director, composers, and a bunch of behind the scenes people like marketing and PR departments, and all of these people have to be paid, which leads to the unoriginality of Broadway shows. When you have to pay all this money just to tell a story, and you have decreasing numbers of audience members, you have to make something that would appeal to a wider audience to just get butts in the seats and to keep the lights on, leaving several productions that are more original left struggling for funding. And that's the saddest thing of all. The stage is magical, and people willing to put it all on the line and do an original show purely for the art of it are what keeps young actors, directors, composers, and writers inspired to create new Broadway productions. Things that challenge the narrative or teach us something about the world or are simply giant spectacles of culture need to keep being made and produced for the art form to progress, to keep the medium fresh. Hamilton would have never happened if Lin-Manuel Miranda wasn't inspired by someone taking a huge chance on a show like Les Miserables or Jesus Christ Superstar. But just think of how many people a show like Hamilton is inspiring. In the widest release a Broadway show has ever had, with the power of Disney Plus. I mean, who knows how many future storytellers we can inspire when we make the best seat in the house your house. But that's just food for plot. If you learned something in this video, or you think others might learn something in this video, go on and share it, or join the conversation down below, even if you disagree. Click that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss another video. Every like goes to feeding the penguin. So until next time, keep writing.